when it comes to building a dream, I believe mindset is everything. And this is something that Sarah touched on a lot. You were speaking about belief and how we're conditioned in certain ways to not even question what we're capable of. And my experience really sort of, I wouldn't have been able to start a life I choose without shifting my mindset. So what I want to share with you today is like 5 tips to shift your mindset. Okay, so to either start a business or run a business. So the first tip is, if you are thinking of starting a business, if you'd like to set a date and have a witness. So set a date, okay? Even if you don't believe you're going to do it, just 1 year from now, 6 months from now, whatever, and tell someone. Tell someone who will believe you. Okay, not someone who will be like, yeah, right, but just tell someone, okay, and that way you commit to it. My second tip is to start owning the identity of being whatever you want to be, public speaker, entrepreneur, whatever you want to be, just own it. So I'd like to encourage you now to say, I am an entrepreneur. I am. Again. I am an entrepreneur. Okay, so now turn to the person next to you and introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Emma and I am an entrepreneur. Okay, so any difficulty believing themselves? A bit? Okay, it takes time. So I'm going to give you homework. Okay? So for the next week, 2 weeks, as long as it takes you to shift, okay? Every day you're going to tell yourself, I am an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur. You don't have to do it like I do, but just okay? So 3 times, 5 times a day, okay? When you wake up, before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner, and before you sleep. 5 times, okay? And you do it. And your mind's...
It does shift.
Your mindset will shift.
It does. It does. Okay.
You start to own it. Okay. My third tip is, don't be scared to be stupid. Okay, so a life I choose is a 1.5 years, so it's a baby. So at the moment, like for the past 1.5 years, I've done a lot of like trying on different ways of being. Some of them fit, some of them don't. Some of them make a mess, and a lot of the time we limit ourselves with fear of judgment. Like, oh, I don't want to do that because it might not work, and then people will know I failed. Or I don't want to do that because somebody's going to think I'm stupid if I put myself out like that, or they're going to think that I love the sound of my own voice, But we saw in the last talk where judgment comes from. It comes from our own feelings of shame. So don't let other people's of shame limit you, and be stupid. You have to try stuff, like you have to make mistakes, and not everything's going to work, and that's totally normal. My 4th tip is to have mentors, online and in person. With the internet, like you can learn anything from anyone, like, which is amazing. So, there's no limit to what you can learn. If I was trained in psychotherapy, I'm not business-minded. I learn my business stuff online, which is great. But then, it's good to have an in-person mentor, because a lot about shifting mindset is hearing yourself speak. So it's hearing yourself, what's happening inside here. Because if I don't know what's inside here, I can't change it. So I need to voice it, hear it, and then once I know it's there, I can choose. I can choose whether I'm going to subscribe to that belief, or whether I'm going to change it with a belief that empowers me. Okay? So that's the benefit of in-person mentors. My last tip is to have a daily practice. Whether it's what I do is meditation, and I do practicing gratitude. And I know it's very trendy to meditate lately, but the reason that I do it is because meditation teaches me, the practice every day teaches me to balance my emotions so that I can weather the storm better. And gratitude, well, our brains are they're like any other organ, right? They have a function. Our brains are made to keep us alive longer. So what do? They see worst case scenario all the time. Don't do that because you could fail. Don't go there because you could die, right? Don't. So we need to train our brains to see opportunity. And when we practice gratitude and when we meditate, we train them to shift. And the more we practice, the better it gets. So those are my factors for starting a business.
Anna? Me, okay. I just thought perhaps I'll kind of add some more tips and give examples from my little life. Dream. So I think after I had left the hospital and decided to go work for someone else in this field, once I was walking on Slimma Front I had a tall German lover, and he said, so what are you going to do in the future? I said, in my dreams I'll open my own clinic. And this was only about 6 months before I did, which sounds unbelievable. And basically, like I said, the people used to tell me, why don't you open your own? Why don't you open your own? I was like, I don't have any money. So and money is a big thing, and money and risk. And I decided that perhaps the way it happened for me, money or investment or where to get your capital for me, because I had zero, like that. And it's tied to 3 things. For me, it was the belief in the idea, my network, and hard work. A lot of hard work. I mean, insanely hard work. There's no limit. It's like hard work. And if I was to run you through, basically, my ex-boss had, I think he was feeling a bit, intimidated, what's the word? Threatened. And he decided to cut down my hours in about half, which is insane. And anyway, so just like that. That's like he told the maid, listen, don't come in on Wednesdays anymore. And instead he told me. And I was furious and so on, had a meeting, and it was weird, very, very strange. 4 people in front of me in suits. And I said, okay, what? I said, our problem with you is that you like Malti, top timla listi that's baida. You like to fill your list. So lists with people. Like, do you want me to scare them away? I can't. Anyway, at that point I figured this is weird, and then the people told me by refusing to do the treatment with another doctor, and instead I got a 2-month waiting list. And at that point I said, "Oh, you know what? I think if I take this somewhere else, it will work." So I went to the bank. Actually, I was crying in my boyfriend's office. And I said, because I can't understand, this is weird, I'm doing well, why is he punishing me? And then we had a meeting about a house at the bank, and a director who I knew from when I was doing martial arts came up to me and said, what's wrong? And I said, why don't you open your business? I'm like, yeah, where do I get the money from? He said, we'll loan you. He said, do projections and so on. Anyway, I went home, I spent days and nights, I employed my a 70-year-old ex-bank manager to help me with projections. Went there, said, okay, this is it. They went to the papers and they said, okay. I mean, I'll never forget to this day. So that was one. And I really believed in it, and I had a good network, and I had worked hard, and I will continue always to work hard. So 5 years later, I wanted to open my own thing, and again, no money. Actually, I had about 5,000. So I called my estate agents, I need a place. I called my friend Lorraine, who's still our designer. I need a logo, I need a brand, I need everything, I need a website. And I called my friend Gazina, who's good with domains, and I said, okay, you have to come here, we have to brainstorm, find a .com, because I wanted a .com. So we all got there, and in 8 weeks from the day I resigned, I swear I did not have a name, I did not have a premises, and I swear, we rented a place from my ex's mother's cousin. I swear, still there. And we went in there, and I got my builder Ronnie, and he actually built me 4 rooms for some laser hair removal exchange, I swear. And I got an amazing plasterer from Congo who did the whole place, including the ceiling, for 1,200 euros. I kept saying, including the walls which are not here yet, yes. Including the ceiling, yes. Including the walls which are not here, yes, yeah. We polished the floor, it still doesn't look very good. Anyway, point is, and then we sat down for 12 hours at a time, built our own website on wix.com. Anyway, eventually we got more help to make it look better and so on. And at 5,000 euros, I swear, of course, when I broke up the other company, I inherited half the equipment and so on, because that was from the old loan. Anyway, so it really, seriously, I believe everything is possible. Everything is possible, but you have to believe, you have to use your network. I mean, everybody got compensated, everybody, and we help each other out. And what was the third one? Hard work. Oh my God, seriously. Then it was me and Michelle, 12 hours a day, Monday to Saturday, excluding Friday, for about a year until we hired more staff. Seriously, more than 12 hours, because about 14 hours a day, opening and closing and doing everything myself. Anyway, second thing. I think before I did this, I always said, it's been done before, been done before, been done before, been done before. I think we all think that, don't we? And I really don't think so. I mean, my father got this into my head. Not all the books in the world have been written, not all the plays have been written, there's not one painting which looks like the other one. There's not one person, there's not one brain, there's not one life, there's not one set of circumstances which is like the other one. So you have something original, and if you're going to do something similar, do it better and do it your way. Just like do, you know. And the fourth one, this is really cool. You don't get what you don't ask for. Okay? I swear. For example, I'll give you another example, and this is not to bluff or anything, it's just to hopefully to inspire, okay? So basically, I was very lucky because 15 years ago I bought an apartment in Valletta, then another one, the first one was 10,000 Maltese lire, and everybody knows what happened, so now we have 8. But I was very, very lucky in that field, literally, not one penny from my parents or whoever. Anyway, but that went partly luck and whatever. But last year, and for the last 8 years, I've been on my terrace, looking at the house behind me, and saying, oh, I would love to have this terrace. Oh, I'd love to have this terrace. And then suddenly I find out it's for sale, and if someone buys it, they're going to build a wall in front of my terrace. But again, this was just after I opened, well, maybe it was 2 years ago, after I opened the company, and again, I had that much money, I swear. Actually, I had minus, but anyway. So I thought about it, for the first time in my life, I said, maybe I'll go ask my parents, I need a deposit, I need to buy this property. So then I didn't sleep a whole night, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go to the bank, and I'm going to say something. So I went, dressed up, and said, I want to buy this property, I want 100% finance, and with no deposit. And you know, they said, okay. All right, I mean, I know I had equity in my house, okay, and I got 106% finance. Wow. They paid the notary and they paid the tax, just for you to know. This was not even last February I bought it. Not this, exactly a year ago. So never stop or ask. Even if you look like an idiot after, so what? Maybe they would have said, ha 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 ha, or something, I don't know. I mean, I had imagined all these scenarios, but so what? I would have walked out, they would have built a wall behind my terrace, closed my beautiful view, and yeah, you know, it was a risk anyway. So you don't get what you don't ask for. If you don't ask your partner, he's not going to wake up in the morning. If you don't ask your whatever,
for the raise.
Yeah, for the raise. And the last point, failure, like all the cliches, is only a catapult to better things, in my opinion. You learn so much from failure. And when, again, like I mentioned, I had another company which I loved. It was my baby, you know, literally my first baby, and I'm not shy to say it. And it was, and then basically I had a business partner, and it went like you don't want anything to go. It was a complete disaster. I mean, I find out checks bouncing, no money in the account. I'm sorry if you know him, I don't care. But anyway, and it was such a dark place, to the point that my staff took me out to dinner and said, you have to leave. I'm like, what do you mean I have to leave? If I leave, this is your income and everything. I'm freaking out. But to be honest, what we have now is so much better, so much cooler, so much more successful, so much prettier, such a nicer name and shorter, because nobody could say the long one, the Smart Skin Clinic. So it became Smart Skin, Skin Clinic, Smart Clinic. So anyway, the point is, if you failed, just learn from it and be better, because that's the only way to go, you know? So that's it.
I'm going to go a bit systematically with the points that you gave. Make sure I don't miss anything. So how did you become inspired to start up your own business? As I said in my intro, I was at a desk job for 8 years, and it drove me crazy. I hated the fact that I worked on other people's schedule, 8 to 5, and if you leave at 5, you get the bad looks. So I really needed a way out, and whenever I thought about what I wanted to do with my life, like accounting just never inspired me. So I was like, okay, I think the only thing I can do is fitness. So that's like where the inspiration came from, and also like I wanted to help people to be healthy, so definitely there as well. Who motivated me? I think my motivation mostly came from myself, because no one actually ever came to tell me you should open up your own gym. No one ever told me that. So I just really wanted to be in fitness for myself. I was so willing to be able to wake up every morning and not dread going to the office. Like I wanted to wake up every morning and be happy with what I had to do for the remaining hours of the day. I also wanted to see the satisfaction of helping other people to achieve their goals, so that really motivated me. Obstacles, definitely financial, like Joanna said. So I was used to having a monthly salary, and I know that in that world, if I continued to grow in that profession, I could make a very good living for myself. I was good at it as well, so I had to sort of just agree to not have a salary for many months. I didn't know how long it was going to be. I had to invest in the gym as well and in my education. So thank goodness I had the support of my husband, who really helped me out. I actually sort of left the office one day with the thought of opening the gym in my head, and I knew that the only way I could make it work is if he was on board with it as well. So I came home and I was like, Pat, so what do you think if I left the office and I open it? I was like, oh, it's a good idea. I was like, you think? Like, oh, good, okay, So, thank God. So definitely, like, he was so, like, we spoke about men before, but I mean, some men can be so supportive. So, another obstacle was my dad. Not that he ever tried to stop me, but my father actually is a partner at KPMG where I used to work, so he always hoped that I would eventually become a partner there myself. So when I told him, he was like, no, you're not coming to the tax department, you're not coming to work with me. Plus even like all my colleagues just took it for granted that I was going to be there all the time, because it was kind of blood. Anyway, so yeah, I had to kind of go against the grain there and just do something different. And for me, an obstacle always was kind of getting myself out there. I do suffer with confidence sometimes, a lot of times. Even when it comes to running and competition, I tend to put myself down in my own head, like, oh, I can't do that, or I was really scared to put like my face out with my brand in the beginning. I was shy, and I said, no, I won't put my own picture on my Facebook page and a video and I'm speaking, no way, like too shy. But eventually I think you just build the confidence, and now I film myself explaining exercises. I look at it, I laugh, I think it's hilarious and really funny, but it needs to be done, and finally I'm doing it. I have some tips. Where are they? Yeah. Tips on staying motivated. Don't do it primarily for the money. If it was for the money, I would have stayed at KPMG. But I was so unhappy, so like, what the hell is the point? But tip number 2, definitely always charge your worth. Like in the fitness industry, I find that people don't want to spend money. Like they ask you for a personal training session, they want 1 hour of your time. They come to you because, I don't know, maybe they think you're different to someone else. And then when you tell them the fee, I'm going to spend 50 euros just to train for 1 hour, as if. But I'm giving you a service that I studied for, that I set up all of this. I went deep into my education to be able to give you a good service. So I really believe that I have to charge what I think my time is worth to make it worth my while. Otherwise, then I wouldn't be happy doing it either. Definitely number 3, learn how to say no to things that don't suit you. You can't take on everything that comes your way, because otherwise you're going to end up again on other people's schedule, working crazy amount of hours per day, and you're not going to have time to do anything else, like cooking, eating healthily, taking care of yourself, doing your hobbies and your sports. So I've had to say no to so many people who wanted to train at 5:30 a.m. Like, no, I'm sorry, I sleep. I can't do it. Have other goals apart from your work goals and your business goals. Like, I think for me, I play the piano, but just as a hobby. But it's the only thing that really takes me away from the fitness world. Because I also compete in running, and running, I call it almost like my second job because it's so demanding. So piano is actually the only thing that I do that's not fitness related, and I love it. So I really think we all need that escape and something else. Number 4, keep it dynamic, change things all the time, try new things. It doesn't work, stop it, create something new. It doesn't work, stop it, create something new. Eventually it will work and it will fall into place. Like, it's so much fun to have things to look forward to. I aspire to do this, and slowly start working towards it. I want to create an online program for people in America, let's say. That's something I want to do one day. Not necessarily in America, but have an online fitness business. Or even if it's just creating your website, or just always taking things to the next level. And my number 5 tip is to have lots of fun whilst you're doing it, because that's the only way it works. So for me, coming into class with my clients is so much fun. I love it. It's almost like I don't feel like I'm...
Thank you.
Okay. I faced adversity because I came into a family business much against my father's. He didn't encourage us to go into the business, you know, purely because he didn't want us to have to deal with the stress, which was a bit ridiculous. But anyway, so my obstacles were always, you can sense people, the nepotism, the fact that you're a daddy's girl, all this crap. So I always felt I had to work much, much harder. But you know what? It falls on their points too. Working hard, I mean, there's no shortcuts. You have to work hard. And then if you're lucky, you're going to be successful. It doesn't necessarily mean. So I worked harder, and I started into magazines to have something completely of my own, which I wanted to prove to no one except myself that I didn't need family business to work in, you know. And mentoring, I had a mentor in Edinburgh. I lived there for a year, and I met this woman who I was looking for work in PR, and we got on really well. She didn't have the work for me, but she employed me anyway because we really got on. And she had a PR company, she had a child, she had another company with her husband, and she invented, I don't know, you might know it, a product called Tot Seats, which is the washable, squashable high chair, which I flogged around England with a teddy bear. You know, I went to all the John Lewis's in England with a teddy bear doing demonstrations to help her out. She was an inspirational woman who showed me how, person, you can do it all, as long as you have the passion. The passion, the fear is a big obstacle, I think, and you have to remember to feel the fear and do it anyway, you know, because when you break it down, what's the worst case scenario? You make a fool of yourself, you lose your time, big fucking deal, you know. I'm going to repeat what they say, so I'm not going to actually. But I think the mentoring for me is the biggest one, and now that I try, even with younger friends of mine, to do the same. It's the pay it forward, it's the what Lisa was saying before. You help each other rather than try and always be negative and sort of energy taking from each other. The other thing I do in work is I walk my path. I don't care if people are doing better than me. I'm glad that they are. As in, I'm not interested. I stay focused and walk the path. And finally, for me, I work much better in a team. I know exactly what my weaknesses are. I can tell anyone who listens what they are, and because I don't want to fool anyone. So, like on the magazine, when the publishers asked me if I were dead, I said yes. I said, but I am highly disorganized in my own way, which works for me. But I'm not going to keep Excel. Don't ask me to use Excel sheets. So, lay my cards on the table. There's no space for misinterpretation. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. So I bring people who are better at that on board. And I have no ego. So it's very easy for me to say I'm absolutely crap at visuals. I can't visualize stuff. I'm good at words. So that's pretty much, I think, that I'm never giving up. And I have had knocks. We've all had knocks. And you just get knocked down and you get up again. And you just keep going, one step in front of the other. I think it's that. It's that kind of basic for me now, really. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, I really will repeat.
Fantastic. Really, thank you guys girls, for opening up the... I always say guys. Why do I always say guys? That's a problem, isn't it?
No.